Hello shape enthusiasts, and welcome back to another episode in our blueprint design series. Today we're going to be working with cutting. Alright, I've picked out a little area we can work, so let's just start off with extracting a shape. Cutting is very simple and very straightforward, so I won't go into too much detail. Let's just build one together. So we start with a platform as we always do, and in our cutting section you see you'll have a couple of options. You can have half destroyers or you can have cutters. Let's start with the half destroyers and see what that does, and then we'll also put down a cutter. So we'll belt in a shape. Half destroyer is exactly what it says, it destroys half the shape. It always destroys the left half of the shape if you're oriented north, right? So you're going to get half a shape. The other half just goes and just vaporizes basically. Then we've got our cutter, which preserves both halves of the shape and gives you two halves of the shape. That's exactly what it says it does. It works as advertised. So how can we build a platform that can handle all our half cutting and destroying and handle an entire full level 3 tier of belts? So with theory out of the way, let's build. So we'll grab our half destroyer, and first we always check how many do we need to saturate a belt. I believe it is 3. So 3 of these will saturate one belt, and we've got 4 belts to saturate, so obviously we need 12. And because they're 3, I believe we can just fit them in a line just like that. To make our lives a little bit easier, we probably need to shift it out 1 for our belts to work. We can design half the platform at a time and then just mirror it over. So if we keep symmetric, that's one of the advantages. We will build out like that, and then we will hook in our inputs, and then our outputs can go straight into the vortex, just like this. Where can we go out? We'll go out straight. How about that? We'll have this do that, and then we'll have this one follow in. Oh, that one should go there, and that one should just go straight. Just like that, guys. That's half our platform done. We'll get that to turn properly, and then we can mirror that onto the other half. Just like that, that should be our half destroyer platform done. We can chuck a bin on the other end and test if this build is fully saturating all our belts. Oh, I think I saw a little missing belt here. There we go. This is why you always test your builds before you duplicate them up to many stories. Yep, and that looks like a fully saturated belt to me. So we can copy this up 2 more floors. Just like that. And we're done. It's very, very simple platform, guys. It's like one of the first things like you start the game with, right? And this is the 3-level version of it. It will work on 2 levels as well if you haven't unlocked the 3rd level, so it's perfectly fine. Now the thing always destroys the left half, so you might be asking, well, what happens if my shape's not on the left half? Well, you don't need to modify any of these modular builds. They are meant to work on a platform by themselves without any further editing. So let's just say over here, I think I have an example of a square. So this platform has a square, but it's on the left half, and you might be like, oh, right, I want the square, right? If you just put your half destroyer on a platform like this, then you're going to end up destroying the square part. So we can see that happening once one goes through. You can see the square half gets destroyed. Well, you can simply use the rotation module that we built in one of our previous episodes. We just give that a 180-degree rotation, and you can see how our modular blueprints, they all work together like Legos. And just like that, you can see it's now rotated, and it is now destroying the correct half of the shape, giving you the desired half. Now, we can see, can we improve upon the efficiency of this design at all? I mean, you can add jumpers if you want. We can leave this one unjumped. It's up to you guys. It doesn't really matter. But if you're happy with your blueprint, you can just save it. And we'll keep this in our blueprint redesign folder. And all of these blueprints will be available in the link in the description. We'll call this one Half Destroyer. And we can obviously edit the icons. And the Half Destroyer is over here. And that's done. But we will do a little bit more this episode because that was super simple. A little bit of an extension you can do onto your half destroyer, and we'll go back to our circles, is a quarter destroyer, which is also super handy. Sometimes you don't need half a shape. Sometimes you need a specific quarter of a shape, right? And that is just going to be a very simple extension on our half destroying platform. So I'm going to remove the top 2 layers, and then we will extend this to make quarters. So to make quarters, we simply need to make a little room here. So if we just cut this out and shift it up like 2 tiles, we can put some rotators in. So when the half destroyer comes out, we're going to rotate the shape 90 degrees in either direction. Doesn't really matter. And then we're just going to put a row of rotators here. And then guess what? We're going to half destroy it again. And that will give us our quarter shape. We can chuck that on the platform over here. We'll just move our half destroyer out of the way. Chuck our quarter destroyer in, and you can see it goes through the destroyer. Half gets destroyed, gets rotated, the other half gets destroyed. Very simple stuff, guys. Straight into the bin, and we will see if this is full throughput, and it should be the same. The reason being the clockwise rotator, you only need 2 per full belt. So whatever this can do faster. But for build simplicity's sake, instead of, you know, using less of these, we're just going to run all of them through it. It's fine. If you're using an extra couple of machines, but for simplicity and convenience sake, just do that. It's fine. Don't worry about trying to optimize the rotator to destroyer ratio. But yeah, that's it. That's our quarter destroyer. Just like that, a little bit of an extension on the half destroyer. We can save that blueprint as well. Call it a quarter destroyer. And then we can put that in our blueprint design series. We give it an icon, or you put a little bit of a something here to indicate it's a quarter destroyer and not a half destroyer. And then we can move on to cutting. Now, cutting is a little bit different to destroying, as you saw earlier. I'm going to go on a 2x1 platform because it does require a little bit more belt work. So as I said, the cutter takes in a belt, then it spits out 2 different belts of shapes. So you can imagine this 1:2 input to output ratio. You can expect that with a full saturated belt in, you're going to get 2 saturated belts out like this. So we're going to have to build something that can output 2 sets of full belts, which is fine. We look at our cutter, we look at how many we need per full belt. We need 4. So if you look at the layout for 4 cutters, it'll be something like this. The input would look something like that, and then you're going to get 2 different shapes out, but you'll notice they are rotated opposite to each other like this. And I mean, you can get this shape, you can merge the similar shapes out together in a variety of ways, right? You can do that. You can put some hoppers on the end to get the other shape out onto another belt, but this form factor is not very efficient. The easier way I like to do this is just to rotate one of the shapes 180 degrees. Oh, that's not 180 degrees. That's 180 degrees. Doesn't matter which one you rotate, but whichever one you rotate, now all your outputs are exactly the same. Remembering this now forms 2 belts, one like that and one like that. And that is your basic unit of cutters that can handle 1 full belt. We need to handle 4 full belts, so we need 4 times this much. So I'm just going to take 1 unit of it, we'll cut it out, we'll destroy the rest of this, and we'll just figure out a layout for it. I think I'm just going to put this as close to the entrance as possible. So it doesn't need any more room, right? We can just put it like literally right here. So we can put 2 in like that, and then we can just copy this whole thing, and we can do another set here, and then we can just mirror onto the other side, whatever we do on this side. So we can put another input belt just like that, and now we've got to handle the output. So this will go all onto 1 set of belts. I mean, we can output it right here. You can see this almost fits, but not quite fits on a 1x1. And this is the homework for you guys, I guess. You can try. I'm 100% sure you could easily build this on a 1x1, but for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to try to fit it. You can see this could almost fit, but not quite. Unfortunately, but I'm sure there's some belt magic you guys can figure out to make that happen. But we will, for the sake of brevity, just do this on a 2x2 platform. So I only got 2 belts out here, so I might have to do some hopping, I guess. These can all come out. This can all come out like this. Maybe you guys can come out together like that. No, I don't like that. We'll get it coming out forward. Make sure we capture all the belts. Remember, 4 belts of output make up 1 full belt. So definitely need room here. So 2 of these are going to have to share an output. So we're going to need to do some hopping of some sort. I'm guessing we should hop here for this one, and then this one can hop like right behind it, I guess. Nope, it can't hop right behind it. It needs to give a 1 tile room for input, and then it can continue to hop like that all the way out till it gets somewhere with a little bit of space. I think that one's fine. So this one can go out. So we got 1 out. We can get a second one out. There's a little technique if you want 2 belts to share 1 lane. You can't get 3 things to share 1 lane, but you can get 2 belts sharing 1 lane using hoppers like this. Then we just need to get these 2 out. So this one can come out like this, and this last one can come out just like that. And that's it. That's our 4 output belts. Now, we should just copy this onto the other side and give it a flip and just paste it down just like that. Very simple stuff, guys. And then we'll get our bin. we will do our output testing as always. Always test your builds, always test your builds. And we'll let that run for a bit and see if it fully saturates the belt or if we have any bugs. And just like that, I think we've almost got a full saturated belt, but it looks like one of these might have a little bit of an issue. Let's figure out which one. Here we go. We got one thing that wasn't connected, and this is why it's important to test. And that should solve that issue. I'm so confident that I'm going to just copy this up to the other 2 levels, and that should be our 3-level cutting array. We'll let that run before we save the blueprint. Alright, we're back guys, and it looks like this side is definitely fully saturated and this side is definitely fully saturated, so we are all good. A little bit of a note about the usage of this thing, right? If one side is not being used, it will block the entire system. So either keep the bin on the side you don't want, or use both sides and ensure both sides are being fully consumed, because yeah, if there's any blockage on one side, it'll stop the other side from running too, because the cutter won't be able to push its output back out. Well, if we're happy with this blueprint, I guess we can just save it. I'm going to save it with an input belt so that you know that this is input and these are the outputs. So we'll just save that. We'll call this cutting to 1, 2, 2. And we will put that in our blueprint redesign series. We will give it an icon as always. And I believe the cutters are the scissors. So we'll give it the icon there. And that's done, guys. A little bit of a note regarding the other 2 blueprints that we made, the quarter cutter and the half destroyer. Sorry, the quarter destroyer and the half destroyer. Well, I already told you the half destroyer destroys the left half of the shape and you need to do rotations. The quarter destroyer actually only takes the top right of the shape in the version that I designed. So if we just take our quarter destroyer, I'll just put these onto my... wait, I won't put the cutter because I feel like I don't really use the cutter that often, so I just don't put that on my toolbar. But for the half destroyer and the quarter destroyer, I definitely use those quite often. So with the quarter destroyer, if we just put it on the end of this thing, you'll see that nothing will come out because it's gonna destroy this half, rotate, and then destroy this half, and then you just get nothing. So make sure whatever you're trying to get out is on the top right. So say I want to get out the star, I need to give this a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. So let's try that over here, counterclockwise rotation, just like that, and that should give us our shape out. Look at that, the preview's already there. Alright guys, nice and simple episode. Stay tuned for more blueprint redesign episodes very soon.